Are you sick and tired? Prescription for your life. Get ready for your daily dose of Healthy Talk Radio, the show that's empowering your health. And now, here's America's health and lifestyle coach.
Live. This is the show where your health is your wealth. Thriving is more important than just surviving, and the only thing lost are those unwanted pounds. This is Healthy Talk Radio that helps you get well, stay well, and live well. Lines are open, 888-283-7272. That's 888-283-7272. What are you struggling with? Let's talk about it. Your health, your life. Remember, if the body can get sick, it can also get well. It's about living your potential. That's what the show's all about, because we all have potential. The question is, are we tapping into it? Are we living the lifestyle and the life that we were designed to live? We were all given a gift, and that's this life. Remember that the odds were against you being born, and you were born. That right there is amazing, and that right there is a gift, and that's what sets you apart from everything, is that you were given this gift of life. So what are you doing with the life you've been given? It's about reaching your potential. It's about getting to the next level. It's about making an impact with your health and with your life. 888-283-7272 is the phone number. Lines are open. You can give us a call. And don't forget, go to the website, asarx.com, and you can send us an email. We'll make it part of the show. Or if you want me to answer in private, I'll be glad to do that as well. Whatever you prefer, we're here for you. So whatever you're struggling with, we want to talk about it. We've got providers that can help you all around the country, no matter where you are. We've got a provider that can dig their heels in with you, whatever you're struggling with, whatever your condition is, and handle it the way that we talk about here on the show. Let's talk about hip pain a little bit. I want to kick off with that and start into that a little bit, because there's 5 common causes of hip pain, specifically in women. And hip pain can result from wear and tear, overuse, and a few other causes. So one couple types of chronic hip pain that we look at and can see is because it has a lot of different causes. The diagnosis first, though, you got to figure out if it's your hip. So the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons said hip pain is often felt in the groin or outside the hip, directly where the hip joint, ball, and socket is located. So that's where you kind of feel that. And the causes of hip pain in women can be different. When a female patient comes to see most doctors complain of hip pain, they consider the patient's age, build, and activity level. If the patient's a thin 20-year-old runner or a heavy sedentary 80-year-old grandmother, there's a lot of the possibilities are very different. So you have to start thinking differently depending on what the conditions are. Arthritis can be the first thought. Chronic hip pain in women is often due to arthritis, particularly osteoarthritis, which is the wear and tear that affects people as they age. The ball and socket joint starts to wear and tear out. So arthritis pain is often felt in the front of your thigh or in the groin because of the stiffness and the swelling inside that joint. That's where you get a lot of the pain. Hip fractures are another one. You got to think about that. Now, that comes with age, right? So the 20-year-old runner is probably not going to have that kind of condition. But, nevertheless, hip fractures are a big deal. And anyone with osteoporosis, which is decreased bone density, right? The bone's not as thick and hard as it needs to be. Symptoms of a hip fracture include pain when you straighten, lift, or stand on your leg. And also, the toes on your injured side will appear to turn outward, a sign that can aid your doctor's preliminary diagnosis. So you'll kind of have the toes and the foot will flare out to the side. Hip fractures are a pretty big deal. Okay, tendonitis and bursitis, these are other ones that are not as impactful, but they still don't feel great. So many tendons around the hip connect to the muscles in the joint, and these tendons can easily become inflamed if you overuse them or participate in strenuous activities. One of the most common causes of tendonitis in the hip joint, especially with runners, is IT band syndrome. Iliotibial band is a thick span of tissue that runs from the outer rim of the pelvis to the inside of your knee. Another cause of the hip pain in women is bursitis. So if you deal with hip pain at all, there's a lot of reasons why, and there's a lot of ways to take care of it. So we're talking about another area too, and this mimics hip pain, which is really, really interesting, but it's called hernia. And if you've ever heard of a hernia, it's where there's of course, in the groin area, there's a femoral and inguinal hernia. These are always referred to as sports hernias. They can cause anterior frontal hip pain in women and men, by the way. Pregnant women can be susceptible to the inguinal hernias because of the added pressure on the wall of their abdomen. Now, gynecological and back issues are another big issue. Hip pain in women can have a lot of gynecological issues. And depending on your age and other health issues, the pain in your hip could be coming from some other system. Endometriosis is another one. Now, with the endometriosis, which the uterus lining grows somewhere else, can cause pelvic tenderness, which some women describe as hip pain. Pain from the back and the spine can also be felt around the buttocks and the hip. Now, sciatica, which is a big, big deal. This is not, this one hurts. Like this is one that you need to watch out for. But sciatica is a pinched nerve, typically affects one side of the body and can cause pain in the back of the right or left hip, rather. So that one is quite the challenge, and we see that a lot, especially in clinical practice. Treatment for the hip pain depends on the diagnosis. So it's all about the diagnosis. Remember, it's inflammatory in nature. It's wear and tear unless there's some kind of injury. But excessive weight, the obesity issue we have right now, 70% of Americans are overweight, 40% are obese. Like, it's a crisis. It's beyond a crisis. As long as I've been doing this show, I'm amazed at the fact that the obesity rates have increased. Like, I thought for sure, as much as we know and as much as we're educating between television and radio and internet, like, we would all kind of get it and get excited and really change our health and lifestyle choices, but we're just getting fatter. It's crazy. Nevertheless, I'm on a mission. I want to see people live their potential. So that's why we're here. Okay, even if people still struggle, that's why we're here. You need a voice that can help carry you through all this. Really makes a difference. 888-283-7272 is the number. Lines are open. You can give us a call or go to asarx.com. Visit us at the website, and we can help you. Let's jump on the phones here. I see you waiting for me. Let's go to Ava. Hi, Ava.
I am 46 years old, and over the past year and a half, it's gotten to where I am just as tired when I wake up as when I have gone to sleep. I usually kind of bottom out around 4 o'clock each day, and I'm getting 8 to 9 hours of sleep a night, so I was concerned.
Yeah, the sleep issue, it's important. I mean, regardless of what anybody tells you, it's super, super important. You have to get sleep. And if you're not, and you're not getting the level of sleep that you feel like you need, if you're not getting in that deep REM stage of sleep, and you know when you are. I mean, if you're not dreaming at all, you're not getting into a very deep stage of sleep. So it's okay if you don't remember your dreams like vividly, but you kind of know if you dream or not. So if you're not hitting that stage, yeah, your body's not getting into a real deep stage of sleep. So I would encourage you, first and foremost, to look and see if you have any neurotransmitter, which are the brain chemicals, instability there. Because a lot of times with sleep, what you find is that it can be mineral deficiencies. Like, it could be something like calcium or potassium or magnesium, which is pretty common, by the way. But it also could be something neurotransmitter related. So if you just find that it's just imbalanced and you can't get there, that's probably what it is. The brain chemistry, like serotonin levels, even GABA, when those levels are off even a little bit, it can cause sleep disturbances. So check out your routine. Like, make sure you've got a good, solid routine every day, that you're not sporadic in the way that you go to bed at night, that you've got a good sleep hygiene, as we call it, and that you've got a good routine going each day. That's the first thing you got to check. Do that for like a week, and then you can let us know. I get the testing done, though, for the neurotransmitters. If you can't find a doctor to do that, let our provider team know, our lifestyle providers. They're all around the country. They can help you. Okay? But we're here no matter what. But sleep is a big deal, and I'm glad you reached out to us, okay? We'll talk soon. 888-283-7272. We'll be right back.
To find out more, connect with On Call Radio online at InShapeNetwork.com.
Welcome back to the show. 888-283-7272. That's 888-283-7272. So glad you're with us. Go to the website. Go to asarx.com. What about pain management? So pain management's a big deal. Like, people that struggle with pain, deal with pain. It's a big deal. And I really want to jump in for just a moment and talk about it, because if you do pain management, it can be a highly challenging situation to be on these medications. But what about doing pain management without drugs? Have you ever thought about that? You're probably going, no. So pain management without drugs is possible. So when it comes to this and you're looking at chronic pain, what can you do? Well, when chronic pain sets in, people immediately look for their medicine cabinet or rush to the drugstore, because a medication usually offers temporary pain management relief. We don't want pain. Like the two things human beings we avoid pain, but we create change in our lives due to one of two things: either pain, massive pain, or pleasure. And usually pain and fear will push us further into change than the latter. But nonetheless, I mean, that's how we're wired, and that's how our brains work, and that's how our bodies work. So when you're talking about pain management and getting relief from pain, of course we go to medicine, because we don't want to hurt. Like, that's pretty simple, right? So acupuncture, there's some alternatives in pain management that I hope you'll consider. So if you struggle with pain management, or if you struggle with pain and you're in pain management, right, look at some of these alternatives, because they're really, really good. I'm excited about them. Number one is acupuncture. It's the oldest pain management technique in the world, Chinese practice of acupuncture. So it uses tiny needles placed in specific joints along the body to help alleviate chronic pain. And the other pain management that's really good, and by the way, a lot of insurance companies now are paying for acupuncture, and they're covering it with insurance. So that's a super important thing to understand, because, I mean, a lot of people, I think even Medicare has considered it. I don't know if it's completely gone that route yet, but I know it was considered. So pain management, along with acupuncture, is massage therapy. And therapeutic massage, extremely beneficial. So many good techniques, sports massage and deep tissue. But it offers a lot of benefits with chronic pain management. The deep tissue massage and some of the gentle techniques can help relax muscles, sore tissues, and ease chronic pain. One study in the Annals of Internal Medicine found that benefits of massage easing lower back pain for about 6 months or longer. It really does. It makes a big difference. Another one is physical therapy. So physical therapy teaches you how to gently move and stretch your muscles and work your joints to strengthen them, which can help alleviate pain. Unlike medication, physical therapy can actually help treat the underlying source of your pain, whether it's arthritis or another condition that can help. Physical therapy can also include water therapy, which is like working the muscles in the pool or whirlpool. And physical therapy also includes regular exercise and working with pain specialists trained in physical therapy, and can teach you the right way to exercise or alleviate pain, not increase it. So in a recent article in the Annals of Internal Medicine, it found that doing home exercises taught by physical therapists was more helpful for neck pain than actual drugs. Think about that. That's pretty cool. Hot and cold therapy is another big one. You're seeing the cryotherapy clinics now. Have you seen those? So cryotherapy is where it's really, really cold, and the sub-zero temperatures, not sub-zero, but it's really, really cold. These low temperatures of the body, with what it does to the body, helps from recovery. So, but the heat and contrasted with the cold, hot and cold therapy, can help quite a bit. And so the heat therapy boosts the blood flow in areas of the body pain due to inflammation, and it allows muscles to relax. So you can apply a heating pad or a heat wrap and then relax in a hot bath for pain management. Can soothe everything, really. The cold therapy, though, can be useful for pain management. It slows blood flow to a painful joint, so the swelling's reduced and the nerves aren't able to send messages as quickly for pain. So you can apply a cold pack or even do the cryotherapy. So we're talking about pain management, doing it naturally. You're listening to the Asa Rx Experience. Give us a call, 888-283-7272 to join in the show, or go to the website, go to asarx.com. So another one for pain management, we're talking about hot and cold therapy. We've talked about acupuncture. We've talked about massage therapy and physical therapy. But what about therapy for the mind? So anxiety, stress, and depression can all aggravate the pain cycle in the body. So it's important not to ignore the emotional side of your pain. So cognitive behavioral therapy, which can teach you how to manage thoughts and feelings of your body's physical response, can effectively manage chronic pain. Biofeedback is another method that teaches you how to control your body's reactions to pain. So while hypnosis and deep tissue relaxation, they can help with pain management as well. Now, TENS treatment is another one. So electrically stimulating the area where the pain is localized, you can actually help alleviate it. So the electrical nerve stimulation, or a TENS unit, which has been used forever in medicine, but it really works, is the electrical stimulation technique most often used in pain management. It's a small device attached to the skin, and it sends electrical impulses to the painful area. Helps to reduce the pain. But the bottom line is with all these, I mean, you got to find what works for you. At the end of the day, if you've been taking a lot of medications, I hope you'll consider some of these, because it's really, that whole pain management cycle with meds, I mean, I get it. People love it. They get addicted to it, but it's a bad cycle. Like, the pain meds are long-term for your health and your brain and your mind and your body. It's just not a good cycle. So if you can come out with a new way of doing this, whether it's acupuncture, massage therapy, physical therapy, hot, cold therapy, TENS unit, whatever you have to do, like, just pick something. But maybe look at some of these natural options as alternatives to be able to help you along the way. 888-283-7272. Visit us online. Go to asarx.com. We want to see you live your potential. Like, that is what this thing is all about. If you haven't checked out the podcast is out every single day, anywhere that you can find the outlets: iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify, all of those, Pandora. You can check it out and check out our podcast and all the latest episodes. Of course, you know, the radio show here goes to the podcast. That's how you can catch the previous episodes of that. Coming up, we've got more questions about your health, and can marijuana help my diabetes? That's a hot topic right now. Now we're getting into it, nitty-gritty right there. So we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Asa Rx Experience. Hi, it's Asa. I'm giving you a copy of my best-selling book for free to help you in your health journey today. I'll pay for the book. All you do is just cover the small shipping and handling costs. Go to asarx.com and get your free book today.
To find out more, visit the show online, InShapeNetwork.com.
Welcome back to the show, 888-283-7272. That's 888-283-7272. So glad you're with us. This show is all about helping you live your potential. I'm Asa, your host. Good to be with you as always. So we're going to dive in. Like, I'm just going to go ahead and deep dive in to this topic that no one wants to talk about, right? So, and when you say it, everybody freaks out because it's been taboo for so long. But I'm talking about marijuana and medicine. Like, and all my conservative folks are like, don't talk about the marijuana. Don't talk about the CBD. Don't talk about. Yeah, it's here. Like, so many states have adopted it. It's here, and it's a plant. So let's jump into it, okay? Now, I've never been a marijuana smoker. Like, I've never been into it. I mean, even in my day of youth, right, running around college and all that, I was just never a pot guy. Just never was. It's never my thing. So now that it's here in medicine and they've got studies behind it and we're really diving into this thing, I want to get into some of it because I think we need to know. Like, it's one thing just having an opinion about what we think, but it's another thing to jump into the research and look at it. So research and the risk, and so we're talking about marijuana and can it help diabetes, because there's a lot of things that we know it can help, but what about diabetes? I think this is really interesting. Research is now on the benefits of medical marijuana for people with diabetes is preliminary. They're doing new studies on it. But research for marijuana for medicinal purposes is limited, and the FDA has not approved the drug as a standard of care. 29 states and Washington, D.C., have legalized medical marijuana. All right, 29 states. That's a lot. And that legalization has passed at a time when some research, which has mostly been observational and conducted by animals, links marijuana use to improved symptoms and outcomes, even associated with conditions like HIV, multiple sclerosis, chronic pain, and mental disorders. But what do researchers say about using marijuana to help prevent diabetes? Well, can cannabis really help prevent diabetes? That's the question. So the marijuana plant contains chemicals called cannabinoids, okay, and they have a wide range of effects, including increased appetite and diminished pain and inflammation. That'll sound great, but really, what's the deal, right? So even with some of the preliminary research that suggests that medical marijuana may help improve glucose control and insulin resistance, doctors across the board aren't that fast to recommend medical marijuana for diabetes prevention. So that's because most of the studies have really not met the gold standard of what we use in the studies. So medical marijuana hasn't been analyzed in a large, randomized, controlled study in which human subjects with type 2 diabetes actually used it. So such studies reduce the risk of bias in study authors and provide the most reliable evidence for what we have with what we call a cause and effect relationship between two factors. So in this case, it'd be medical marijuana and diabetes. So we just have a correlative link right now. But with that being said, they did a study in the American Journal of Medicine, and they have some observational clues about how cannabis can affect diabetes, which I think is pretty cool. So they looked at nearly 600 adult men and women currently using marijuana, and about 2,000 had used it in the past. After fasting overnight, their blood drawn were screened for other health factors like high blood pressure, body mass index, and waist circumference. Compared with those participants who had never used marijuana, the people who used the marijuana had a 17% lower fasting insulin level and glucose level. They also tended to have smaller waistlines, so the level of obesity was down. Interesting. Their BMI was better. So the results from the latter study seem to support the conclusion that observational cross-sectional studies that were published about this in the British Medical Journal, that they were saying that about 11,000 participants were in this one. And they theorized that the anti-inflammatory properties of the cannabinoids may have led to the improved health outcomes of the participants. See, the whole may have thing, may have, might have, could be. But the fact that they're discussing it, I think, is great, because could it be that it helps? I mean, nothing's going to help diabetes more than a healthy lifestyle. Like, you can't go smoke pot and eat donuts and get rid of diabetes. Like, let's just call it what it is. Okay? Like, that's not where we're going in this conversation. But the fact that it has some chemicals in it that can be beneficial for diabetes, I think is worth discussing, and it's worth talking about. So can it help control diabetes? That's a different topic. So studies investigating marijuana as diabetes prevention tool have not been conclusive. One study suggests the drug may be used to help relieve diabetes symptoms, which can be kind of cool, like diabetic neuropathy. This is in the Journal of Pain. So diabetic neuropathy, or painful nerve damage due to chronic high blood sugar, which may lessen the discomfort of inhaling marijuana. So cannabinoid receptors located in the nervous system across the spinal cord and brain appear to work on multiple planes to relieve pain, including decreasing the excitability of receptors, reducing transmission of pain signals to the brain, and inhibiting discomfort down the spinal cord. You're listening to the Asa Rx Experience. If you're just joining in now, you can give us a call, 888-283-7272, to join the show. And if you just want us to answer in private, we will. You can go to the website, asarx.com. But we're talking right now about marijuana and can it help diabetes? Because I think it's an interesting conversation, just to say the least, about how marijuana can help any condition for that matter. I think we just hear marijuana and we all freak out. And it's like, oh no, but you'll take any of these other drugs that are so full of side effects. And then we look at marijuana, which I'm not like some marijuana fan, trust me. I just think it's interesting that we're now having these conversations and that 29 states have accepted it. Like, it's just an interesting time that in my lifetime I never thought I would see. So it's cool that we're having these conversations, because it does have benefits, and we're seeing that. And I think that when you talk about, I mean, it is natural, so it's a plant. So anytime we're dealing with any kind of something somewhat natural, it's pretty cool to see the way God designed it. Now, the whole getting high thing, that's a whole different topic. But the benefits and the medicinal benefits that can come from the cannabis is pretty strong. The THC is a whole different topic. But the CBD portion, the oil that we're now seeing and using, that one is really powerful. So the barriers, just so you know, there's barriers to this research. And again, that's too technical, but I want to get into what a lot of the clinicians are saying. So clinicians agree that more data is needed, which is cool. The research is in the infancy. We all get that. But as far as the marijuana medically using medicinally to improve measures of metabolism for diabetes, there's a lot more unknowns than knowns. And it's way too early to make a recommendation for using cannabis for diabetes. So Troy Donahue, he's a physician, an associate professor right down the street from us in endocrinology and diabetes at the University of Florida. Although I'm a Seminole, go Noles. He studied the effects of marijuana use following bariatric surgery. So Donahue was previously at the University of Colorado in Denver, where he saw many patients with diabetes and obesity who use cannabis recreationally or medicinally for anxiety, sleep, or pain control. He notes that one thing clinicians agree on is that strains of marijuana that produce a feeling of highness, the THC, many of which are recreational, would not be advisable for people with diabetes because they tend to increase appetite. Yeah, for sure. So for people with diabetes, strict diet and weight management, it's crucial to help regulate blood sugar levels and increase insulin sensitivity. So what do doctors know? They know behavior changes like healthy diet and more physical activity, as well as approved medications for weight loss and diabetes, have been proven to halt the development and progression of the disease. So we know the risk and benefits, he says, and that makes the approaches far more preferable than medical marijuana for physicians to recommend. So what are the next steps? You know, one of the things they say, although medical marijuana, the legislation, that's kind of a big deal, it's getting passed in more states. The traditional physicians who rely on research and official U.S. medical guidelines, they're really waiting on the studies. So even though it's approved, doesn't mean your doctor's going to be cool with it. And a lot of guys and gals are jumping on the marketing bandwagon, and you'll just be an all pot clinic, right? So you go in and get your medical card and get all the marijuana you want. There's a lot of that going on. Just be careful with that. I get business and I get marketing. I just don't know that I'm a huge fan of that. I mean, that's capitalizing in a way. And I mean, just like the pain management clinics, which I think do a lot of good, by the way. Well-run pain management clinics that are not there, you know, as a glorified drug, you know, pushing mill, which they busted a lot of those recently. But the really good pain management clinics that are doing great, they screen very well, and they don't just hand out pills to everybody. I really have so much respect for that because a lot of people are in pain. And if that's the case for a medical marijuana clinic, that's great. But if it's just solely for working it for profit, not cool. So just do your research. But I think it's worth talking about that more conditions are being talked about, like diabetes, for what medical marijuana can do and how it can benefit, and the different parts of it that can really make a difference. So you gotta respect that we're seeing that more and more. 888-283-7272. That's 888-283-7272. Give us a call or go to the website. Go to asarx.com. That's asarx.com. If you haven't checked out the podcast, please do. You can look up at any of the outlets, iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Pandora, Spotify, any of those. Look up Asa Rx Experience and you'll find it. Of course, we get the radio shows from the day we post there, plus original content, interviews, celebrity interviews that you don't want to miss. All of that there is at the podcast. Love to have you part of that. Coming up, more questions about your health. And I'm going to jump in and hit on a couple of things you don't want to miss, especially you guys. I've got some things content-wise that's all about men's health.
Connect with On Call Radio and watch On Call TV at InShapeNetwork.com.
Triple 888-283-7272. That's 888-283-7272. So glad you're with us. Check us out on the web. Go to asarx.com. That's asarx.com. Listen, this show's all about helping you live your potential. I don't care who you are, where you come from. doesn't matter your color, doesn't matter your race, doesn't matter your age. You have an amazing gift inside of you. And you are designed to do something great in this world. You have a potential. And I would beg to say that you have not even reached that potential, not even scratched the surface of who you were designed to be, that you've been stuck in a rut for a long time and doing the wrong path and following the wrong path of who you were designed to be. So it's time to make an about face. It's time to really get into a position where you can thrive. It's time to really get into a place where you can go in the right direction and head the right way and be who you were designed to be. That's what we want to see here on the show. And that's what you were designed to be. That's what we want to see for you more than anything else. So give us a call, 888-283-7272. At the website, I want you to go there, get a free copy of my book, and dive into it, because it will take you from where you are to where you need to be in your health. It will take you from A to Z in your health, and it will make a humongous difference. Yes, I said humongous difference in the way you live and everything about your life. It will take you literally from really, really not so great habits to great habits. It will take you out of health challenges into great health. It will, if you're already super healthy, it'll take you to the next level of healthy. Like it'll take you all the way around. So I encourage you to go there and check it out. Let's get on the phones and go to Alex. Hi, Alex.
I can't say this word. It's fibromyalgia. I know that's not right, but you know what I'm talking about. I just hurt and ache and burn and tingle, and I'd like to know what would be good for this. Thank you so very much.
You're welcome, darling. And let me help you on that. So fibromyalgia is one of those conditions that some doctors think it's a legit diagnosis, and it is a legit diagnosis. And some say it's not. Some say it's more mental than anything. And it's where the soft tissue, muscles for that matter, and the soft tissue of the body ache and they hurt. So, for example, you come up to somebody that says they that have been diagnosed with fibromyalgia, and they just ache. You grab their arm, and they just freak out. You grab their shoulder, and they're like, ah, they scream because it hurts. And there's reasons for that. The pain receptors and the inflammation in the body is elevated. But then also you got low brain chemistry. A lot of times there's a significant correlation with low serotonin levels in the brain and the achiness that goes on with fibromyalgia and the pain, the chronic pain, and the consistent pain. So all that can play a big role. So all that to say, one of the things you've got to look at is you really want to focus on cutting out inflammation in the body, okay? So if you deal with that sort of pain, you got to look at your diet. If you're eating all kinds of foods and not really concerned about your diet, you probably got a lot of inflammation in the gut. If you got a lot of inflammation in the gut, you got a lot of inflammation in the body, period. That's just the way it goes. Now, the other piece to look at is your brain. So if you've ever taken antidepressants for anything, if you've ever gone that route of any kind of brain chemistry related issue or drugs or whatever, then that can play a role in this deal. It can play a big one, especially serotonin. Serotonin can play a big one and really be a game changer in it. So that's why somebody that has fibromyalgia, one of the first line treatments in medicine is putting that person on an antidepressant. And 90% of the time, a lot of the symptoms and pain goes away. It's like, what's up with that? Well, what's up with that is that the serotonin levels were low and they fixed that, and then the pain goes away and you had a neurotransmitter issue. It wasn't a pain issue. It's just how the body was exhibiting it. So a lot of things you can do to raise serotonin levels. First, though, you got to figure out, you got to get tested, okay? You need to get tested with your neurotransmitters, figure out which one's low, which one's high, which one needs to be stabilized, which ones are doing great, because you could eat certain foods that can affect one and mess up the other. You could build up one and have another one drop. So there's a lot of things you've got to do to make sure that you're doing the right things when it comes to getting the right nutrition for the body. And the testing is so important. So you can eat certain foods for serotonin, like protein-rich foods, like turkey is amazing. And then, of course, your meats, like red meat, although I'm not a big fan of doing that all the time, but the red meat is really, really good for brain chemistry. It's good for depression. You can definitely get in certain vitamins and minerals. Pyridoxal 5-phosphate is great. Magnesium is really good, as well as your omega-3 fatty acids. And also, don't forget vitamin B3. B3 is big as well for the brain chemistry and building up serotonin levels. There's a lot you can do to make that happen. So I would encourage you in this challenge that you're facing, get your diet right, okay, doing the anti-inflammatory based diet, get the eating right, because the inflammation's got to go down, period. And then secondly, as you're doing that, get testing done for your neurotransmitters so you know exactly which one it is. And then there's a nutritional protocol. If you need that, just let us know. Get with one of our healthy providers that are in your area. They're all over the country, so we can get you with a provider that can help you figure out exactly what's going on inside the system for you. We can build a good game plan from there. So that is the ultimate key, really, when it comes down to it. Because the challenge is, in something like this, is to get everything balanced. And it's all about the research. It's about the tests. It's about knowing what's there and what's not there. 888-283-7272. We've got Samantha that sent an email in. She said she's from Washington, D.C., and says, I've been struggling heavily with low energy levels. I get up in the morning and I'm tired, and I go to bed really awake. What is that? Okay, that is classic symptoms of adrenal fatigue. Adrenal fatigue is one of those that we don't talk a lot about in healthcare and in medicine, but it is a real condition. And it's where the adrenal glands, which are the little stress glands that sit above the kidneys, that produce a hormone called cortisol. They also produce norepinephrine and epinephrine. But when cortisol is in DHEA, when they're off, then your energy levels are going to be off. And the more tired, as we call it, or fatigued the adrenals are, the less the body's going to work at its peak level. So getting some testing done for the adrenals is really important, but then there's also a lot of herbal remedies that can help, and a certain specific dietary plan, which I've got a whole webinar on that at the website, that will help you. Puts another hour in the charts. I want to thank our producers, Derek Allen, Mr. Fig, and John Garrison, our chief engineer. Go tell one person something you learned on the show. Together, we can transform the health of our friends, our families, and our communities. You're listening to the show that helps you live your potential. This is Asa Rx Experience.
This show is designed to provide accurate information of a general nature on the subject matter covered, and given with the understanding that neither the host nor the station is engaged with rendering any form of medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. This information is not approved by the FDA and is not intended to diagnose, prevent, treat, or cure any disease.
To experience more of Asa Rx audio, visit us at asarx.com.